welcome back for one last wrap-up video. I just want to close out the contest that I put in the last video. For those of you who don't know, my book, Math Without Numbers, available everywhere books are sold, ends with a little puzzle. It says, one last thing, there's an extra puzzle hidden in this book. The answer is a number. What is it? In the last video, I put out a contest. The first person who can give me the correct answer, I'll give them $50 and a signed copy of the book. So in about 4 years of my book being out, no one had solved it yet, or at least they hadn't told me about it. So I gave 3 hints. And now I just want to say I have actually gotten 3 correct answers sent to me. So I want to announce the winner of the contest and also explain how to solve the puzzle. First thing I'll say is that the answer is not 42. A lot of people sent in 42. That was a red herring. There's this curious page number 42 on an otherwise empty page, which normally, if you're familiar with printing standards, you are not supposed to put numbers on blank pages. So for example, this blank page does not have any number on it. I actually had to argue with the publisher to get them to do this. So it might seem like 42 would be the answer, but actually there's something else curious about the number 42, which is that it is written in bold. The number is written in bold, whereas most of the page numbers are written in italics without bold. And if you look through the page numbers in the rest of the book, you'll see that most of them are written normally with these italics, but then occasionally you'll find a number. So for example, the number 87 is written in bold, like the 42. This is why the first hint in the previous video, if you look at the first letter in each description in this entire video series, they spell out the phrase, check the page numbers. I was hoping people might figure this out because it's the only numbers in the entire book, and so that would be a good place to start if you're trying to find an answer that's a number. So if you write down all of the page numbers that are written in bold instead of normal italics, you get this list of numbers. And I actually had a few friends show me this list and say, am I getting close? Do I have something? Am I on the right track? The answer is yes, but there's 1 or 2 more steps there. The next step is something that's common if you've ever done puzzles like the sort of MIT mystery hunt type puzzles, or even if you're just solving a math problem, like a sort of puzzly math problem. If you have a list of numbers like this that seem somewhat evenly spaced out, a reasonable question might be, what are the spaces in between them? Is it going up by 10 every time? Is it going up by 10 and then 12 and then 14 in sort of an increasing way like that? The hint that I gave for this in the last video was a reference to a crossword puzzle that I made where the solution was mind the gap. Though I believe I said in that video to add an S to the end, so it's mind the gaps, and that was the hint to look at the differences between consecutive numbers. We're also including the first number, 14, as the first number in this gaps list with the idea that there's an implied 0 at the beginning, so the first gap is 14 and then everything else follows from there. Now, if you take the differences between consecutive numbers, you actually get this list. Now, this is not a regular pattern. It's not the same number every time. It's not increasing every time. But all of these numbers are kind of in the same range, and if you look carefully, you might notice they're actually all between 1 and 26. If you've ever done this kind of puzzle before, this sort of mystery hunt style puzzle where they don't give you any instructions, you know it's very suggestive when you have numbers between 1 and 26 because that's the number of letters in the alphabet. So if you take each of these numbers and convert them into the corresponding letter, so 1 is A, 2 is B, and so on, then it spells out the word 94, which is the answer to the riddle. The hint I gave here is that the riddle is different in every language. So Math Without Numbers has been published in, I believe, 17 languages. And for each one, I separately calculated what page numbers have to be bold in order for people to be able to solve this riddle in their own language. This was actually written into my publishing contract that every international publisher had to reach out to me directly by email so I could tell them which page numbers to bold in their edition of the book. So for example, in the Turkish translation of the book, cover here, these are the page numbers that were highlighted instead, because if you read the gaps between all of these numbers, it spells out the Turkish translation for 94, which is 94 or something. I don't know how to pronounce it correctly. One thing I didn't anticipate is that in a lot of languages, 90 is just a very difficult thing to say. And so 94 was often too long of a phrase, and the number of page numbers we would have needed were longer than the length of the book. We found workarounds for that in various ways. For example, in Finnish, we use this phrase, which directly translates to 6 under 100. So in some languages, there was one extra step at the end where you had to do a tiny bit of arithmetic like that. In any case, time for the prize winner. So while I was editing this video, I actually found a couple more people who had submitted the correct answer and it had just been marked as spam in my email, including one person who submitted the correct answer before I even posted the hints last year. So congratulations to the true contest winner, James Muir, who submitted the correct answer of 94 on May 15th of 2024. You are the official winner of $50 and a signed copy of my book. There are 4 other people who sent me the correct answer. They are Todd Yampol, who submitted it on March 1st, 2025, Dimitris Limperopoulos, who submitted on May 31st, Laura O'Neill on July 23rd, and Jeremy Smart on August 15th, just about a week ago. I also believe that someone sent me the correct answer sometime in early 2025, but somehow the message was erased. I think maybe you sent it to me on Instagram and then it got automatically deleted. So if you believe that that was you, please send me some evidence of that and I will add your name to the leaderboard. That's it. Thank you all for playing. I hope you guys had some fun with this puzzle. Now one final puzzle. What's so special about 94? If you have any ideas, please post them in the comments, and otherwise I will reveal the answer when I publish my next book.